Hey guys, I'm going to make this video as quick as possible. This is just a quick rundown over the Song of the South project, and if you need help thinking about some of the lyrics and how it's related to the Depression, this video is for you. Okay, so again, your Song of the South project, it's in under the Great Depression tab. You click on it, and here's all the resources that you will have. You'll answer here. It'll be on the right hand side on your screen. But also, this gives you an example of what I expect. And then remember, these annotated sources will tell you the answers to these thinking questions. So I just clicked on the thinking questions and final products document. And so those annotated sources back here will help you. This right here will help you in answering these questions. But real quick, I just want to go through these lyrics in case people are confused about what these lyrics may be describing. You can use this video as a reference. This first box, cotton on the roadside, cotton on the ditch. We all picked the cotton, but we never got rich. This is describing how crop prices had fallen to drastically low levels. Okay, because remember, they had produced too much. That had led to the prices declining. So cotton on the roadside, cotton in the ditch. There's a lot of cotton, but they're not getting rich because the prices were so low. And so here, if you analyze these lyrics, you would talk about why prices were low and then shift into what the government did in response, which was pay farmers to not produce as much. Next up, Daddy was a veteran, a Southern Democrat. They ought to get a rich man to vote like that. This is attacking the policies of like Calvin Coolidge and Herbert Hoover and the Republicans during this time, as well as just going against the wealthy. That's what it means when it says they ought to get a rich man to vote like that. Okay. And Daddy was a veteran. You could say that's referencing the whole bonus army fiasco with Hoover, how he kicked the veterans out of town. But the biggest thing is a Southern Democrat. Okay. And they ought to get a rich man to vote like that. These lyrics are essentially attacking the Republicans and their pro-business policies that really didn't benefit the poor much at all during the 1920s and into the 1930s. If you recall in the video, when the man is singing in the field, he looks up on a pole is a poster of Herbert Hoover. So they're blaming Hoover and they're blaming the Republicans and more specifically Coolidge and Hoover for the Depression. Okay, and they're saying that rich people need to vote Democrat because the Republicans have not done anything to help. Next up, well, somebody told us Wall Street fell, but we were so broke that we couldn't tell. Wall Street is referencing that is where most of the stocks are exchanged in New York. So when Wall Street fell, that is referencing the stock market crash. Okay, and then these sources right here kind of give you some background on 2 days before the stock market crash. This article was like, oh, keep buying stocks. And then this article was kind of an analysis after the crash. But this is talking about the stock market crash. And then you have to think, this line right here, but we were so broke that we couldn't tell. The family is a poor farming family from the South. So they were already struggling even before the stock market crash and the Great Depression truly hit. Okay, and again, I apologize I don't know why it felt like this, but it did. Next up, the cotton was short and the weeds was tall, but Mr. Roosevelt's going to save us all. You'll look at FDR's inaugural address, the same one that we looked at in class, but Mr. Roosevelt's going to save us all. Mr. Roosevelt is referring to FDR, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and how is he going to save the American people? He is going to save them by promising them a New Deal. Okay, so this is what these lyrics are describing. Next up, well, Mama got sick and Daddy got down, the county got the farm, and we moved to town. Okay, so this article is short, but it tells you about farm foreclosures and stuff and why that was happening. The county got the farm and moved to town. That is talking about the family. They did not have enough money to pay off their farm, so the bank foreclosed on it and took their farm away from them. So that's what those lyrics are describing. Lastly, Papa got a job with the TVA. Okay. So the family's broke, and then all of a sudden, this New Deal agency, Dad gets a job working for the Tennessee Valley Authority. So in this, you'll talk about what the TVA does and all that. Okay. Kentucky Lake should be able to make some connections. Next up, so Dad gets a job, he's making more money. Then he buys a washing machine and then a Chevrolet. the family is finally able to start to get out of the depression because now they're able to buy these goods that make their life a little bit easier, whether it's a washing machine or a vehicle for the family. And it was all because Papa got a job with the TVA. So just make sure you explain what the TVA is. But anyway, for your final product, remember, you only have to analyze 4 different parts of the song. Okay, I just went through 6. Okay, so you should be able to pick the 4 you're most comfortable with, and then obviously bring in that evidence from the sources. Okay, you got to have those quotes to back it up. Like, for instance, if you want to talk about how farmers weren't making any money, then you could bring in that statistic about what happened to cotton prices during the first year of the Great Depression, just to show concrete evidence. Hey, this is how low it reached. But any questions, please send me an email or ask me in class. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.